Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your man Jay Kevin here, just coming at you today. Just want to do a quick discussion, have a quick conversation about the Great Reset, resetting of your table, the plan, the agenda to reset and manage what makes it to your kitchen table. If you listen to any of my past videos, I often talk about how 2020 has been dubbed the year of the Great Reset by so many organizations, one including the World Economic Forum and others. Time Magazine, with in conjunction with the World Economic Forum, just came out with a article and a website of that same title, talking about some things with that respect. But there's another document, the resetting of the table. I think it's a Rockefeller Institute document that talks about the restructuring and the reformation of of the food chain and the food production and supply, and it talks about managing on a global scale food supply and what actually makes it to our kitchen tables. I came across a YouTube video that really documents and really talks about this in a succinct and articulate fashion that I think that is pressing for us to take a look at. I could sit here and talk about it and kind of ramble on, but I just thought that this video really sums up and gives us a snippet of what's a part of and what it means when you hear the word, the phrase, the Great Reset, or the resetting of our table. So let me see if I can share my screen and scroll over to it. Screencast. Here we go. Let's see here if I can find it. Go to there it is. Let me bring it up. And let's just watch real quick. I found it. It's on the Memory Hole blog. You can find them on YouTube and other places too. You can just type them in. But they do some really short, poignant, to the point synapses of of these topics that I talk about and discuss. And I thought that this is a good video just to kind of watch. It's only 8 minutes long, but it gives you an overview about why it's important that we stay aware and awake, and that we stay familiar with some of the agendas and things that's going on. First and foremost for your health, for my health personally, and then our loved ones, our immediate loved ones, our immediate circle of people that depend on us and that we have obligations, responsibilities to, but also concern our communities and neighborhoods and our cities all at large, expanding outward. This is just very important, especially with respect to the days and times that we're living in, that we stay aware, awake, sober, so that we can make decisions that will help us not only just survive but thrive and place us in the best position possible. All that under the guidance of the Holy Spirit, the guidance of having that relationship with your Creator. So let's watch this real quick.
If you appreciate these video explorations,
it's the Memory Hole blog,
becoming a patron of Memory Hole,
and I included that in here just so I can give them credit, because I thought it was a pretty good, poignant piece.
They've come to our children's schools, transforming basic education. They've come to our families' doctor's offices and hospitals, transforming medicine. Now, guess who's coming to dinner? The Rockefeller family's plan to restructure America's diet in the midst of global food shortages. On this episode of the Memory Hole Blog Report.
Now just notice those documents they point to. Try to find them. Some may be disappearing. So just.
I'm James Tracy. The Rockefeller Foundation has been in existence for over 100 years. It was founded in part to burnish the Rockefellers' public image and shield the family's immense wealth from taxation by redirecting it towards what are deemed philanthropic endeavors. This has included bankrolling the University of Chicago, undermining America's public education system through the introduction of progressive social psychological instruction methods. Rockefellers overhauled the country's healthcare protocols, putting it on the path of allopathic medicine, dependent on toxic polypharmacy. Now, the Rockefeller beneficence intends to use the COVID-19 pandemic to intervene in the production and distribution of the United States food supply. The Foundation's new initiative is called Reset the Table, meeting the moment to transform the U.S. food system, and it is presented with no small degree of smiles, flash, and flourish. Yet this is not the first time the Rockefellers have visited our nation's dining tables. In the 1970s, the Rockefeller Foundation initiated the so-called Green Revolution, transforming entire grain species, thereby placing much of America on an empty, calorie-rich diet that has contributed to today's public health scourges of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and other terminal conditions. But don't take my word for it. Just listen to Devon Clattel, director of the Rockefeller Foundation's Food Initiative.
And
Oops. Oh man, my bad.
we recognize at Rockefeller that some of the things we did to solve the grand challenges of the last century are intimately connected to the challenges we're facing today, right? Using fertilizers to increase productivity has contaminated soil in lots of places. Using irrigation to grow bigger crops has drained groundwater. Creating a really heavily grain-based R&D industry and sector all around the world has helped to contribute to a current food system which is high on calories but low on nutrition.
So they create the problem. Now they're creating another solution to create another problem.
Akin to the Green Revolution of a half-century ago, the Rockefellers are proposing a radical restructuring of the American food system in order to address what it terms nutrition insecurity. For example, it proposes that bona fide food sources, such as fresh fruits and vegetables, be redefined as medicine.
That's
The
crazy.
delivery of which
Well, it's not
will be
crazy,
managed
but
by the healthcare and insurance
food is
industries
medicine.
by way of, quote, food as medicine
But they're doing it so they can
interventions,
control it.
fresh food pharmacies, and medically tailored meals and produce prescriptions. Along these lines, the Foundation's technocratic planners propose accelerated integration of food distribution with public education systems, which today are quickly becoming primary enforcers of public health mandates in the areas of mental health and vaccination, not to mention ideologically correct modes of thought and behavior. For example, as the Rockefeller Reset the Table Charter indicates, the plan repeatedly emphasizes politically loaded buzzwords
Sustainability.
such as sustainability, a common euphemism for austerity and control. And given the degree of evidence now available, one can now all but conclude that the designs to exert greater control over the U.S. food system has required several years of careful preparation, and that the COVID-19 crisis declared by the Rockefeller-sponsored World Health Organization is being used to introduce what will likely be draconian measures on food production and distribution. Indeed, the international food and economic crisis of late have been exacerbated, if not largely caused, by coronavirus lockdowns. And to what degree could the manipulation of the Earth's climate and weather hasten the introduction of the new normals? For example, in the summer of 2020, America's Midwestern farming states experienced the most violent, catastrophic, and unusual storm in at least 100 years, and indeed one that was scarcely reported on by U.S. news media. The weather event wiped out a third of the nation's staple crops, such as corn and soybeans, aggravating the already precarious relationship between agricultural production and human needs. In 2015, John Podesta's Center for American Progress, the World Wildlife Foundation, and food industry giants Cargill and Mars Incorporated sponsored Food Chain Reaction, a quote, food security game, a simulation and role-playing exercise examining how governments, institutions, and private sector interests will proceed to address a multi-year crisis in the global food system, unquote. The stage was set 5 years in the future, or the year 2020. Much like Event 201, the pandemic exercise held in late 2019, the war game was held to collect and assess the opinions of an array of social engineers. It included mock newscasts alongside scenarios involving the impact of climate change, natural disasters, and economy and finance, all of which were directed towards the purportedly urgent need to restructure food systems in the U.S. and abroad. Food Chain Reaction's website has since been taken down.
That's why I said in the beginning, track some of these documents while you can.
Emerge from what seemed at the time naturally occurring and insurmountable crises. Today, more so than ever, inordinately powerful and unaccountable interests act by way of philanthropic, tax-free foundations and are capable of moving individuals, societies, and governments in directions of their own choosing. Awareness and organized resistance to these designs, made possible via alternative media, are of grave importance, as their implementation is now more than ever at hand. If you like what we're doing in these video essays, please consider
There you go. Just thought that was a good, short piece about what's going on right under our table with respect to what's going to be what's being managed to be put on top of our table under the guise of the pandemic and what's going on right now. So, regardless of how you may feel about where we're at right now and how we got here, we're here, and this moment is being taken advantage of to reshape and reform and move us into what's known as the fourth industrial revolution, or the digital age, or the Internet of Things age, whatever title or name that is coined, is popularized. That's what we're going into, a new order. So these are phrases that are thrown around, but you want to pay attention to these phrases and start researching some of these phrases and who's saying the phrases and who's pushing and promoting these things. So I just wanted to come on for a little bit. Didn't want to stay long. Just wanted to talk about what's going on and the need and how important it is to take care of yourself and be aware so you can make good decisions for you and your family and all those that you hold dear. So that's all I got. Hit like, share, let me know what you think. I definitely appreciate you joining me.